Hi, my name is Ja and welcome to Motivated to Inspire. In my last video, I spoke about sharing some information or videos about my Fiverr experience and just some lessons that I've learned along the way. If you haven't seen that video already, I'll put a link in the video description below for you to check that one out. So it's really just sharing at a high level what I've been able to do and accomplish, and it's just some basic things. And so in this particular video, I just want to talk about if you are considering starting on Fiverr, well, what are some of the things that you need to do, especially as a beginner. So I'll just start off maybe with a few benefits. If you already have a job already, this can be something like a part-time job or part-time side hustle, however you want to put it. So you might be getting income from your day job, and then you've got a supplementary income that will be coming from your Fiverr efforts. And the great thing about it is you're not restricted like geographically. If you live in a certain part of the world, you're not restricted to getting business from that particular area. So it's international. When I think about my own experience, a lot of my business comes from international clients. So that's a great benefit. You can be location independent and still make a good income. There's no discrimination of you live in a first world country or you live in a third world country and so forth. None of that is there. There's some things that you need to understand, of course, when you're dealing with different cultures, languages, and so on. But for the most part, really, it's a great opportunity to make money internationally, right? And some of the essential skills that I would say you need to have is good communication. It's going back to the point that I've just mentioned about you'll have people from different parts of the world. So you might both speak English, but I think what I've found is English can sound different to different people. Maybe some people talk too fast and you might not really understand them, and you need them to speak slower and so on. But the most important thing is making sure that you are both on the same page on what needs to be done, understanding the potential clients' requirements, and making sure that you are both happy with the work that needs to be done, so forth, right? And then time management. It's very, very important to handle time. I think the best way to think about it is think of a project manager, right? Think about a scenario where you've got 3-4 clients all at the same time. You then need to be able to know how to allocate time to each of your projects. And there could be some situations where you might actually need to pause on taking any new work until you've cleared the current orders that you'll be having. Because sometimes when you don't do, in fact, many times when you don't deliver a good job for people, it becomes a bad experience for them. You get negatively reviewed, and that hurts your overall profile as a freelancer. So time management is very important, and I think this one, without any question, I think you need to have a solid work ethic. Sometimes you need to work whether you feel like it or not. But if you manage your things really well, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's important to work hard, even at a normal job. It's important to have a good work ethic. Okay, so what are some of the gigs that you could consider, or services that you think you could offer? So from some research online, some of the top ones, the ones that people find the most success in, as in they bring the most amount of money. There's graphics design, writing and content creation, which is what I do, and virtual assistants. So if you think you can fall into any of those categories, those are some of the ones that you can consider. And I'm not saying these are the be all and end all. These are just some of the top paying ones on Fiverr. But you can certainly explore the entire platform and look at all the various categories that are there. There's stuff on app development. I've mentioned graphics design. There's translation. there's all sorts of things that are there. I think you can find almost any field if you just do some research and find that there's somewhere where you can fit in as well. And then the next step is, like, once you've identified something that you think you can do, the next most important thing is to create an attractive profile. Almost like what they say, in that your first impression like makes a big difference. Write a compelling profile about your experience, what you've done, and even with your individual services, what we call gigs. Have clear descriptions of the services that you offer. And a good way to get started is just to compare with what other people, how they set up their profiles. And there's so with Fiverr, right, there's different levels of sellers. So if you are joining for the first time, you are considered a new seller. And then as you gain some traction, have some success on the platform, you move on to level 1, level 2, and then there's top rated sellers. So at each stage there's like different criteria. And so whatever level you are, so as a new seller, you compare, use the filters on the platform on fiverr.com, and then just filter and search for new sellers. Look at some of the best descriptions that you'll find there, and not exactly copy totally, but have a feel of like how they structure their profiles, which will give you an idea of how to structure yours, right? And then as I've mentioned already, like with your individual services, use terms that people would naturally use to search for your kind of service. And you could even go on the search bar, type in the particular service you offer, and you'll probably get like a list of other keywords that are commonly used on the platform. Plug them in there somewhere in your description, in the gig description. Some of them may be as your title, some of them as your tags, your title tags. And as people search, those are some of the factors that make it easier to find your particular profile, right? And then pricing your services, it's also important. And again, you just compare with what other people are doing at your particular level. You might not necessarily price exactly to the T, but within that range of what other people are offering, because you don't want to price yourself too low or price yourself also out of reach for potential customers, and I think that's something that's very important. And promoting your services. So Fiverr has got this inbuilt feature where, like, with each order that you complete, right, they have an algorithm that helps to boost your profile in certain ways. And then you've also got even Fiverr ads, almost like how you've got your Google ads for Google. There's a similar mechanism within Fiverr called Fiverr ads, where you can promote your services by paying for advertising. That's one way. But you can also even go to the extent of posting on your social media profiles, where you can connect with people who already know you, they follow you, and you share your services on those particular platforms. So those are the many different ways that you can promote yourself there. And then I think lastly, I just want to mention common mistakes that you might want to avoid. One of them I've mentioned already, in that you don't want to underprice your services. Almost like how people get into pricing wars, where they are trying to undercut the competitor so that they get the client and so forth. I think it does more damage to you as a person, because people might not take you seriously if you are constantly changing prices, and you're shortchanging yourself in many cases if you price too low just to get a customer. And you might end up even attracting the wrong kind of client, and working with difficult clients will also hurt you eventually, because they'll probably give you bad ratings anyway, because they are not the kind of person that you really want to be working with as well. And then failing to communicate. I think communication, as I've mentioned, is a very, very important thing. Each time that you're working on something for a client, be sure to update them on the progress that you're making. If you've done step 1, tell them I've done step 1, I'm now going on to step 2, and so on, depending on whatever service that you're offering. But that communication, it just gives that assurance that, my work is being taken seriously, and it shows professionalism as well. So it's simple things like that that can make you stand out. And then from time to time, it's also good just to update your descriptions, your service, your gig titles, just to keep it fresh. It's not a set and forget it, so that's another mistake that some people would make. And you update them based on rich insights. Fiverr has got this service called Fiverr Seller Plus, which gives you access. It's a subscription that gives you access to insights like what keywords are people searching for the most, and so many other insights that are valuable to building your business. So yeah, at a high level overview, I think that's what I would say is the experience that I've had with Fiverr, and just be sure to check out my blog. I'll put a link to my blog post as well about this topic, and let me know if this has been helpful, and if there's any other particular topics that you'd want me to cover on this Fiverr experience. So I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks for joining me, and take care.